real success stories told by the people who lived them.
We're going to have some guests on this show that everybody knows, and we're going to have guests on this show that nobody knows yet.
One by one, Nick Hyder is adding hits to the Hitstreak.
Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder, and in the Hit Lab with me today, I've got an extra special treat for you. Folks, check it out. You have seen this gentleman in the LA Times, on Yahoo News, on Hulu, on Roku, on Fox News, and many, many others. I've got the founder and CEO of William Wilson Homes, William Wilson, in the building. What's happening, baby? How we doing?
How you doing, brother? I'm very excited to be here. Love the environment. Love the space, man. Very motivating in here.
Well, that's how we like to roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how we like to roll.
I respect it. I love it.
So, we've been running, we were talking before, been running the same circles for like 15 years maybe, if not longer, right? And I was an admirer from afar for a long time. I always thought a lot of you. You always carried yourself like a professional, always dressed.
Yeah. Likewise, man. I appreciate that.
So, we knew each other from the hospitality industry. You were in the music business and a promoter, and you were good at it.
Yeah. Music and promotion, man. That was my forte back in the day. So I did that for, it's like almost 12 years total.
Dang, that's a career.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I was obsessed with it.
That's a career.
Yeah.
So what made you, just going straight into it, what was something that made you want to make a change?
Honestly, I gave myself a deadline. So I was a rapper. I used to rap. And I gave myself a deadline, man. I told myself I didn't want to be a 30-year-old rapper.
Right.
So that was my hard stop. I was like, if I'm not successful to a degree where I could support myself and my family, I'm retiring. So at that point, like 29 and a half, I gave it a really strong push. Mm-hmm. And after that, man, I just had to pivot, and make a change.
How did you, what made you land on real estate?
So I have a mentor, Corey Hammonds is one of my mentors. He's been in real estate like 30 years. He's always like, listen, man, you have a network. Just tap your network of people. You'd be a good real estate agent. And, we just took it to the next level with that. And I'm extremely competitive. Like I love Kobe Bryant, Mamba mentality. All that's like instilled in me. So once I start something, I can't stop it.
That's right.
And I can't do it halfway.
That's right.
So real estate, anything. If I was selling chalk on the street, I'm going to try to be the best chalk seller on the street. So
that's right.
With real estate, man, this is just another venture. And I failed at after I quit my rap career, I tried to start like 3 or 4 different businesses. Gotcha. They failed. So that's the thing too. I really was. I don't like failure, but it lets me know what I can't do, what my strong suits are. So once real estate was just picking up and gradually continued, it just, and I love it. I have a passion for it. So it kind of just, everything was just like fell in place. Gotcha.
Tell me about what were some of the other businesses that you tried that?
Oh man. So one of them was my buddy started a coffee company, tried to do a coffee company, and I tried my hand at that. I was emailing everybody. It's kind of similar to, just marketing, like broad general marketing. He started a coffee company. I was emailing everybody like, hey, you want to try this coffee? We're giving free coffee away. I didn't work at all. Then I actually tried to start it was cups, like mugs, right? So I tried to like integrate the mugs because I saw like, man, people have mugs everywhere. So we tried to like localize that and streamline like coffee mugs. Everybody was drinking coffee. I was like, what if we just try to sell mugs and then group the coffee together? Man, it was just like fail after fail after fail.
Gotcha.
But after that, and I got a job. I got like 9 to 5 job, of course. I was working corporate America. I did Genesco was my first job after I turned 30. Actually, that was my first job. I was making $34,000 a year at Genesco at 30 years old. No, excuse me. I was 28 then. And then from there, I went to Tractor Supply Company. Tractor Supply Company, corporate office there. And then after that, I went to a company called Comdata, and I worked there for as long as I could.
All great companies. Yeah. However, like you were not in control of your
Yeah.
launch, of your trajectory.
Correct.
And that's for me, that was always like, I never could find anybody outside of baseball that when I would ask him, so if I'm the best you got, will I be paid like the best? And the answer was always no.
Yeah.
It's like, it was based on time and all these other factors. And I'm like, well, why would I work hard then?
Right.
You know what I mean? If there's all these limits that you give me.
That's key. That's very key.
Mm-hmm.
But and I noticed that too, like all my counterparts and coworkers. I think there is a large portion of the country that is fine with that, and maybe individuals like you and I, that hurt me, right? I don't want to work for someone forever, especially if I have my own goals, right? Because I feel like I'm accomplishing somebody else's goals when I'm
That's right.
showing up every day. So in my head, I said, yeah, it didn't make sense.
Everybody can't be the business owner, and you got to know you're built for certain things, and God put you here for His own reasons, right? And you got to figure out what those are. However, the one thing I do know is if you have a boss, he's never going to pay you enough to live next door.
Facts. Hey, very true. That's very true.
So, and like a lot of people ask me, when did you quit playing baseball? I didn't quit. I finished. Big difference in quitting and finished. And you finished the music business.
Correct.
Right. So, I was 27 years old. And broke because they don't pay in the minor leagues where I was at, and it was broke, and I just got fed up with it. I got tired of it. I was like, I don't know where I was. I lost who I was, my identity, everything.
Right.
Talk to me about when I talked to Tim Corbin and Coach Jeff Forehand about this. I was like, when I was done playing ball, like I was probably lost for a good 3 years.
Yeah.
I didn't know I'd been a baseball player my whole life, and then all of a sudden I wasn't. But I looked in the mirror one day and I realized I was dressing the same. I was hanging out with the same people. Really nothing changed except I quit getting paid to play baseball.
Yeah.
What kind of like transition was it for you once you got out of music and you'd been doing that? Because you were good at it.
Yeah.
You were good at it. You were making less money. I don't even know exactly for a fact, but I'm gonna say you made less money in corporate America than you did in the music business and as a promoter. You probably made what you made in a year in one Thursday night downtown.
No, correct. And that was a hard transition. It was a really hard transition because you have a lifestyle you were living and used to, but it was no structure there, right? And I couldn't forecast my future. And I that was unsettling for me. But the biggest transition, man, I would say, was that it was the friends, right? Like you know how the nightclubs are. You can't always hang around the same people and expect different results. They are not feeding into your goals and dreams. So I think that was one transition because you love these people, and I miss that crowd. But I can't. It's hard for me to, you can't get to where you're going. Right, if everybody's really around you is not on the same page.
That's exactly right. If people say, there's an old saying that you grow apart, and that's not necessarily like a bad thing. That's natural.
Right.
Where you want to end up your career is totally different from the person next to you, and that's what makes people go their separate ways. But for me, there was great people in that industry, very successful people. For me, I guess I wasn't mature enough to develop the way I needed to develop and at the rate I needed to develop and be a part of that, which is why we finished that career and did something else. It was like the money was good, not that we knew what to do with it.
Exactly.
But the money was awesome. It was a great time, but I had a kid at home and all the revenue was done at night, like late night. So I was a zombie when I was with him. And then I don't know, my wife's she's a superhero, dude, and I didn't treat her like one back then.
Yeah, no, and we all grow and develop, and it's all about growth. As long as you can hold yourself accountable and grow, that's a huge piece that I've been learning. Is accountability is key. Because I have a girlfriend, and initially I wasn't the best person either, but you grow, you hold yourself accountable, and it's all about growing with the person as well. You grow with the person, you grow with your team, you grow with the company that you create. It's all about growth. Not being stagnant is a huge piece as well. And I'll tell you something else that I learned was my mindset. So I had ceilings. I put a lot of ceilings on myself. My mindset changed and I'll give you a good example. I was at Tractor Supply, got a promotion. I literally went out and celebrated like I won a Super Bowl for making $47,000 a year. Like you would have thought like we went out and got drunk like I won the Super Bowl for a promotion of $47K. Because at the time, my ceilings, my boundaries that were created by, friends, family, society, I'm thinking, okay, this is great. Like I can go just make $47K a year. But when I changed my mindset and removed like the ceilings and started reading and educating and surrounding myself with different people, thinking that you can make that in a month. And I was fine annually there, and I think that's what separates. It's the mindset. I saw the quote on your in your office about mindset, and I think that's a huge component to success is accessing that. A lot of people don't know how to access that.
It's a power. It's a tool.
Yeah, it is. And if you can break those barriers down that you're used to, even financially, financially, emotionally, anything, you can achieve it. But you can manifest it. But before you can manifest it, you have to believe it and see it first.
Yeah, there's the old saying was you have to see it to believe it. That's backwards. You got to believe it to see it.
Correct.
Right. That's what it all comes down to, man. So, so you're from here.
Yeah.
So I grew up literally 5 minutes from where we're sitting today. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I used to ride. These were wood. This was here.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to ride my bikes back here.
Yeah.
Like probably right where we're sitting right now.
Yeah.
I probably fell off or ran over something or something. Who knows?
And that's motivating. Look at you now.
That's right.
You're in the same spot, and that's so motivating to me.
That's right. Well, dude, Dad was in the music business. Grew up in a very happy middle class household. What about you? What was your childhood like?
Man, so I grew up actually right around where Belmont is. I went to Belmont, so it's called what's now called 12 South. I grew up in that area, and yeah, mother, father, sister. My dad died when I was 16.
Okay.
Which incredibly changed the trajectory of my life.
Okay.
I was very angry, very angry person that kind of just transitioned into adulthood, honestly. And I'm just now learning how to cope with anger in a positive way. But now going to therapy, it's helped me out a ton, learning where that anger came from. But nonetheless, yeah, I had a good upbringing, man. I had a very loving mother, talked to her every day, very loving sister. Very loving family, immediate family, extended family. Grew up right around Belmont, man. Then with the high school, went to Aiken, went to Moore, went to MBA, went to Belmont. So all right
around there. Yep. Well, tell me about the transition of I have both my parents. I'm very fortunate, especially at the age I am now.
Yeah.
Grew up with both of them. As a matter of fact, they didn't even split up until this is I don't know, probably 7-8 years ago, maybe, give or take. I might be wrong about that, but I was grown when they went their separate ways.
Right.
So grew up in a happy home.
Yeah.
What kind of how were you able to take a tragedy for you, and then as you're going through that process of dealing with it and all that, everything else, and then turn that into something that can fuel you?
Man, it like I said, it's taking me now to use that fuel in a positive manner.
Okay.
It took me a while. It took a lot of growth. I was, just angry. Like some therapists would say, you stop growing at the age of the trauma, right? So I think mentally, I was still a 16-year-old in a lot of regards when I lost my father as an adult.
Gotcha.
The way I handled situations, and I've all learned this because this is accountability. I can say I was wrong, doing things the incorrect way, but I was figuring things out on my own, essentially, as a man, because I was the only guy in my family. So figuring things out as a man, how to be a man, how to provide, and things that my father taught me in the 16 years that I knew him. It's just all different when you have to do it solo.
Gotcha.
As a teenager, as a young adult, and piecing it together now, retrospectively, thinking that I did a lot of things wrong. And I always try to think, if my dad was here, I probably still would have been playing baseball. I never would have stopped playing baseball.
Yeah.
He was my baseball coach. I mean, summer leagues, we did it. I was playing baseball since I was 4 years old.
Okay.
And one of the main reasons I quit playing baseball was because he died. He was my coach throughout that whole time.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, I always just, you always think, what would happen if?
Absolutely.
Right? And I always think, if he was here, I'd probably, have a solid 9 to 5, making a solid 6 figures if I wasn't playing professional baseball somewhere.
Yep. You're 38 years old now, right? So
38.
You'd probably just now be making six figures in the corporate job. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Facts.
Well, dude, nobody's undefeated. Nobody's undefeated. So check it out, folks. Let's make sure everybody can follow you on your socials and stuff, right? So your business is on Instagram is at William Wilson Homes.
Correct.
And then, dude, you're gonna pronounce for me how you say your personal one.
My personal page is William Basquiat.
William.
So
Basquiat.
That's what, like, one of my favorite painters is John Michael Basquiat. So yeah, William Basquiat is my.
I thought that was what it was, but I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure, right? Yeah. So you spell that, folks. William Basquiat.
Yeah, Basquiat.
So your brokerage is pretty new, right?
Yeah. So I got my broker's license in 2020.
Okay.
March of 2020, and opened up the brokerage officially in October of 2022. I should have done it before, hindsight's 2020, but I opened up the doors October.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on that, dude. It's especially in Nashville, but everywhere, real estate's feast or famine.
Correct.
There's not a lot in the middle, and you're obviously eating pretty damn good, right? So, what's the one thing that you've been able to leverage the most? I think I know the answer to this.
Yeah.
That has kind of there's people out there that've been doing real estate for a decade longer than you have that you just blown right by, probably working for you by now, right? What's that one thing?
Digital marketing, man, and just marketing. All marketing is key, right? And I preach this every day to my team is post, right? Post, let people be known. I mean, one of the biggest hurdles for real estate agents is that people don't even know you're an agent sometimes. It's literally like 40,000 real estate agents in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So what is going to make them choose you? And the best way to get in front of people is from your phone. Everybody's on their phone.
That's right.
We
say it all the time. Average person spends like 5-6 hours on this sucker.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Right. You should be in front of them.
Because if you're not, they're buying from somebody that is.
Correct.
And you've done a great job with your marketing, especially on the digital front.
Thank you.
You have been. We mentioned on it before that you've been on Hulu and Roku and everywhere, man. So where would folks, if they haven't seen it yet, where would they find those things?
So I actually did a show called First Time Buyer. It's on YouTube. If you just type in First Time Buyer, William Wilson, it'll pop up. Then did an article actually about real estate, Nashville real estate with the LA Times, which was actually a really good read. And it was just trying to keep, just the sanctity and the tradition, of old Nashville, which I feel like a lot is being lost there.
True.
So I did an article about that. It was a really good article. And it's a video online. You go to LA Times website and just type in my name. That'll pop up. And another thing I featured in that article that I think is a good point is that Nashville is going to change no matter what. So we have to just change with it, transition with it. Don't get left behind.
That's right.
Because there are a lot of locals that are going to get left behind when we have the advantage. We know the great areas to go to. We know everything about the city already. Mm-hmm. And there are different ways. There are opportunities coming here. Companies opening up businesses. I mean, the salaries that they're providing are great. Mm-hmm. So that's what I kind of wanted to push with that article is that we don't need to get left behind as locals.
Right. That's right.
We just need to transition with the city, right? Transition with the city because it's going to happen no matter what. You don't want to wake up and be like, shoot, man, the city's just so progressive and I'm still in the same spot being stagnant. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that I push in there. But yeah, you can find that on the LATimes.com. Change
is inevitable. Growth is optional, right? So, and you can't grow without change. It's impossible.
Correct.
Impossible.
Correct.
Well, dude, congratulations on all that stuff. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Let's see. And what would be like your top 3 tips? Because again, folks, his digital marketing game is very, very strong, and it's some of the best you see. I'm a fan of it. I like it. It's something that you enjoy seeing in your feed all the time. What's 3 things that stand out to you that make yours better than everybody else's?
Number 1, I would say is consistency.
Ooh, right? That's it.
You have to be consistent, and that's the thing too. Even with agents I talk to a lot, they feel ashamed, they're embarrassed to post. You can't. You have to overcome that. You have to be consistent.
That's selfish.
Yeah, to yourself, correct.
That's right.
And your family. Like if you want to be successful, why are you holding your own self back? Mm-hmm. But consistency is one. Another one is goal setting goals, short-term, intermediate, long-term goals, and executing those, because you can't execute them.
That's right.
If you don't have something written down.
That's right.
And then you're stagnant if you don't have a goals. And then the last one is just networking, man. Being presentable, smiling nice, networking with everyone you meet.
That's right.
Shaking hands and just networking. And I think that a lot of people have trouble doing those things collectively, consistently. I think from what I see, because I talk to a lot of new real estate agents, they ask me the same question, and I'll tell them these 3 things, and I'll look at their page like, 3 or 4 months later, and they posted like a picture of a hot dog or something, and it's just nothing about their business.
That's right.
And it's so I think that those were the main 3 I think that's helped me.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, it's again like the consistency is. What is it that Aristotle said? When you're pursuing excellence? I was listening to a book that talked about it this morning. But like what you are at the end of the day, your habits they determine your altitude is basically what it came down to, right? So it's all about consistency. I still have yet to see like I don't know, a Pizza Hut commercial. They run it one time and then they never run it again. No, it's over and over and over and over again, right?
Psychology, honestly, get to dig a little deeper. It's all psychology.
That's right. Well, the number 3 was one that you've done exceptionally well. And one of the most common things I hear when we help young business owners is a lot of them, they do have good networks.
Yeah.
They don't know how to transition a current network into take them on the next journey with them. And I have a funny story about that. It was one of my last nights in the nightclub business, and we had a guy that was very successful. Always bought. You remember seeing that back one in the back?
Yeah.
Well, dude, he I just started my insurance agency, and I remember I was just talking to him. And I said, hey, man, we just started an insurance agency. Love to see if I can help your company out. And he said, bro, if you're throwing a party, I'm in. He was like, but when it comes to insurance, he's like, I know you just started. I know you ain't any good.
Yep.
Call me when you get there. And it was like, okay. He's a client now, been a client since 2014. But how were you able to take all those people that you knew in those contacts and transition them into your new journey?
Yeah, and that's a lot of times, a lot of people always tell me too that it should be easy to convert that network. I think it was actually harder for me to go from a rapper, right? Who wants to buy a house from a rapper? Like, it doesn't know anything about real estate. That's what everybody perceived me. But this is what it was, actually. It started off with consistency. And then it goes into education, because you have to know the game better than everybody if they're going to trust you. And then that's the next thing is trust. Like, once they see you, because I had multiple clients that initially were like, I didn't go with you because you were just rapping. How are you going to sell me, how are you going to sell me real estate? And then, now they're clients, right? Like I've helped people buy and sell now that initially were like, heck no, I would never use you as a real estate agent. But the consistency, and then the education piece too. And I always tell my agents this: if you work in any commission job, I think that you have a huge number of people that do it, especially like real estate. Let's just keep it real estate related. People look at this as like a part-time job. So I tell them, if you just literally work an extra 30 to 45 minutes every day, compound that weekly to monthly, annually, you're going to outwork, I would say, 90% of the real estate agents if you do that consistent.
That's right.
30 extra minutes a day adds up.
Yes, it does.
So that's what I did. I did it for longer than that. Again, that's what I was saying before. I'm kind of like obsessed with it. Like when people told me, no, I didn't want to use you because you were a rapper, it made me want to grind that much harder to get their business, because that motivated. I actually have like 5 people that told me that, and I know their names. I remember their faces when they said it to me. It's like burned into my life. And that's a part. I have 1,000 motivating pieces, but that's one of them. So what can I do to get their business eventually? And I know I got to earn their trust. How do I do that? And I have to work my butt off.
That's right. That's right. At the end of the day, I think relationships are the real currency of this lifetime, right? So, and those relationships they take effort. Just like your relationship with your spouse or whatever, like you got to work on it or it starts to go away. You know what I mean? So it's just like anything else. So, and you've done an outstanding job with those relationships. I know every time we've reinvented ourselves, if you don't have any people hating on you, you ain't big enough yet.
Facts.
Right? So
Facts.
the biggest movie star in the world, like let's just say it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Well, dude, everybody loved his last movie, but there was a whole bunch of people that didn't too.
Correct.
And they told everybody about it, didn't they?
Yeah.
You can Google Jesus Christ and they'll find bad reviews.
Yes, exactly.
So you got to have some hate out there, right?
You got to be able to take it.
How many people gave you a hard time for leaving the rap game, for leaving the music business?
A lot. A lot of people did. A lot of people. I mean, I still get it. I still get emails today like, "Why aren't you rapping? What are you doing?"
Gotcha.
Like still that. I mean, I actually had a guy from Germany email me a couple of weeks ago, and he was just like, "Can you just rap like on FaceTime for me?" And he was actually, I love him. Really, really good guy. But I mean, I still get. I miss it.
Sure.
But you know, I miss it and I love it. But you know, I just had to pivot.
For me, a lot of the marketing, this podcast is an outlet for me because I'm not doing some of the performance-based things that I did back then.
Yeah. I like that avenue.
So it's fun, right?
Yeah.
It's fun. You get to create.
Yeah.
It's just a different type of creation,
I
right?
love it. Yeah.
So let me ask you, we've been off. I'm bad about this. I have a good outline for a great show, but I get interested. I get sucked in like everybody else. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my list for just a second, right? So, first of all, what advice would you have for somebody looking to launch a new company? Because I can tell you right now, hundreds of people a week are reaching out to us, saying, "Hey, I'm interested in doing that," and we go. I love go. There's a great organization called Corner to Corner, locally here that works with a lot of people starting up their own stuff. And I go speak to them from time to time. What would be what advice would you have for somebody looking to do that?
So this is subjective to me. I personally think that you have to have like people around you that are much smarter than you, and you have to.
You need to say that one again.
Yeah, you have to have people around you that know more than you, and you have to hold yourself accountable and vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable as well. I've learned that in business, and your team matters.
Absolutely,
your team matters. The people around you daily matter. The people speaking life or death forcing you, it matters, right? That really forms your trajectory. Yeah, and then you have to have like really, really smart people around you that know more than you and that you can accept that. And you have to remove ego.
You got to be secure, right? Security.
Very secure, right?
Okay.
And that's what I'm learning. I mean, I'm learning. I'm a work in progress, so I'm learning all of that myself. Is that you have to remove ego. You have to be secure, and you have to learn every day. You know, real estate's ever changing in any business it is. So you have to grow, forecast, and you have to I really can't stress the team enough, right? You have to have a strong team around. You can't do everything by yourself. No, even like you could be the face of it, but you have to have a strong team.
Absolutely.
To carry.
Absolutely. So Nashville has a lot of self-employed people.
Correct.
This is a great market for real estate, and it's probably, I know we bought in 2020 was when we bought the house that we're in now, and man, we looked for 9-10 months.
Yeah,
it was hard, and if we didn't know somebody, we just happened to be driving through the neighborhood that we live in now, and somebody recognized my Jeep and sent me a text and said, "You just drove by my house." I was like, "Dude, is it like I'd love to be here?"
Right.
And like the next week, 2 weeks later, something like that, there was a guy that didn't want to use real estate that was being relocated due to COVID stuff, and had to get rid of his house. And like so, I went in and shook his hand in the living room as soon as we got back into town, and like it was like that. We walked in, I was like, "I want it," and I was like, so we made the deal right there.
Cool.
It like what a like that don't happen.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the last 2 homes I bought, we did not. They were handshake deals with the owner.
Wow.
No, I didn't even have an agent involved or anything. That never happened.
No, it doesn't.
And if you didn't know the people, you need to have a professional helping you out because that could have been very bad for me.
Correct.
So what advice would you have for business owners, small employee, or 1099 employees looking for to buy a home? What advice would you have?
Right now, so. Now, that is a really good question. I actually wrote 2 articles on GNAR's website about this. So if you go to greaternashvillerealtors.com and just type in 1099, I wrote 2 articles about this. Number one is if you are a server, you have to file your taxes as well. I have a lot of people that are 1099, they just don't file it. Because there's different ways. Lenders can use your income, even if it's not much, just to show job history as well. And another thing is that I would most definitely save, right? A lot of people that work 1099 write off most of their, like, which I do as well, everybody does, but you have to save for your down payment, because it's going to be more. Dude, it's going to be more than your average person.
The first home that we bought, it was my mom lives in it now. It was a smaller home in Davidson County. So, and this was before everything really like inflated. Everything doubled almost in a short period of time. But the second time when we started looking, because we were writing off so much every year that we didn't, at the end of the day, we didn't show that much. So the advice we got based on the house we wanted to get next, it was like, man, like don't claim, do it the right way, show some income, which means you got to pay taxes on it, which that one hurt. Yeah. But it was like the natural transition, and it changed everything for us after that. Once we were able to do that, right? So and that opened up a whole world of lines of credit. Correct. And everything that we've been able to use and invest and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we're going through the process right now of we're putting in a pool in the house that we live now.
Oh, nice.
And if you ain't done that, that's you got to find the right company for one of those things. Correct. But the whole backyard's a disaster. But the people that are working on it are fantastic, and we're supposed to be swimming by April.
Oh, good. Well, congrats on that.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But I think we worked with like 12 companies before we found the one that would actually do it.
And that's great that you actually went through that many companies to find it, instead of going to the first one or three.
It was rough.
Yeah.
I've heard some horror stories.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, we
horror
talk
stories
about that a lot.
So how important is a real estate agent in especially a first time home buyer's life? Because I know I didn't know anything.
Yeah, I mean it's very important. Very important that he or she has connections to link you with everyone you need. So
that's right.
You're going to need a good lender. You're going to need a good home inspector. If you're buying land, you're going to need someone connections with a surveyor, site plan, things of that nature. But it's very important because you're going to need to create a plan. And that's what I do with my clients. So say if you come to me and say, hey, this is my plan, I'm going to try to find you a home that you can monetize later, transition that into a investment property, and then let's go to the next step. And that's what a lot of people just don't necessarily get, I think, when they work with other agents, is that it's very transactional. And that's where the studying and educating yourself comes in, because I bought my first house in 2019. I've bought more since then, of course, but it's all about learning and growing. And I can tell them my experience. I can tell them what to do, what not to do. So it's very important. It's because it's a huge investment.
Yeah. It's
a major investment. So you need to have, and even just contractually, like writing contracts, every market is different. We're getting closing costs and concessions for clients now.
Okay.
Last 2 years, we weren't getting that at all.
Wow.
And knowing how to structure agreements and negotiations.
That's right.
It's very important to approach every investment. I look at it like it's mine. So it's very important that you have an agent that, and if you're in a different market, just make sure that agent is like a local expert.
That's right.
Someone that studies his craft, her craft. It's their passion, and they're going to give you sound, valuable advice. And that's really the main piece for a first-time buyer. You have to get a plan together. You got to get a plan either way,
right.
Especially as a first-time buyer, because we'll get your credit right on the front end. We'll help you find it. If you want to lease it out later, we'll help you figure out how to do that. We'll try to help you become a real estate investor, if that's your goal.
I guess it was just the changing of the generations and natural growth. But when I was a kid, everybody was like, you go to school, go to college, get married, you buy a house. Never ever said you buy your first house. It was always the house. Right. And I don't believe that's the case at all anymore. I think the more that you can have, the better, right?
Yeah. More assets. Yeah. I mean, you can just like you're saying with claiming more on your taxes, that's kind of how I look at real estate.
Yeah.
You can go to a bank and leverage all of your assets. If you have a project you want to put it into, you can refi, HELOC. It's just so many different avenues when you own real estate.
Yeah.
And real estate is one of the most appreciating assets over the last 27 years. So it just makes sense.
Agriculture, precious metals, and data, top three most valuable commodities in the world with oil, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Data was the one that threw me for a loop. That's pretty recent.
Yeah.
That's pretty recent. How do you probably got a lot of data? Do you if I don't know, I need to subscribe if you got an email or anything, because I bet it looks as good as your digital stuff. Like, has that been effective for you, being able to leverage your data and stay in contact with people?
Yeah, and that goes back to what the education piece of creating an SOI is so important for real estate agents, new or tenured. You have to have your network of people and be able to touch them consistently, and either in some facet, whether it be email, TikTok.
That's right.
Which I'm learning a ton about right now is TikTok.
Yep.
Email, TikTok, YouTube, something, right? You have to touch them.
Yep.
They have to see that you're still in the real estate business if you're going to use them.
That's right.
So it's, I mean, I'm trying to get creative. Like I said, I'm learning every day. I'm really trying to jump into TikTok too. So yeah, follow me on TikTok.
That's it.
William Wilson Homes at TikTok.
William Wilson Homes on TikTok.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy to me that when I first started really like getting into business development and learning how to like make things grow, the first thing I did is the great Marcus Whitney told me, he was like, Nick, there's a bunch, everybody that you look up to has certain things in common. And I was like, what do you mean? And he kind of described it like this. He was like, every house, what makes a house is certain features that make it a home. Like, but they're all different shapes, different sizes, different locations. But there's certain things that make it a home, right? So that all homes have in common. He's like, you'll find that in success. There's all these things that these people have in common. He's like, I'm not the exception to the rule. Neither are you. So like, get those things in common with those people and watch what happens. You'll start to see clearly. You'll be able to find your path and navigate through. And so like, what are some things that stick out to you who are some people you look up to the most?
That's a good question. One, my mother.
Okay.
Really.
Gotta give mom one.
Yeah. She's a trooper. She's gone through a lot. Her resilience is crazy. Business wise, and yeah, my mom, my sister, my like they're both incredible women. As far as business wise, or even my girlfriend too. Let's add her to that group of resilient, successful women. As far as business, my mentor Corey Hammonds for one, is huge there. And even just thinking about like traits of all these people, that is a very good parallel. They all share similar traits. Dola White. You know, I look up to him. Very hard worker, very, very hard worker.
He's the man, dude.
Yeah, man. It's always,
I got to get him in here.
Yeah, for sure. I got lunch with him yesterday. Very, very hard worker. He kind of like instilled the hard work piece in me, to be very transparent. I told him that too on his podcast, is that he's always just been work your butt off. And I loved that at the time. You know, I was going to Scene and Karma and just partying, and I was just like, yeah, but he was waking up, you know, after that working. And I was just like chilling, but I love his work ethic. And then after that, my buddy Che Mock, love his career, attorney, sports agent, real estate developer, love that. Eric Thornton, love his hustle, real estate attorney, owns a Good Day Farm. It's just so many that I immediately talk to, you know, like we talk to each other.
Yep.
And they're looking at them. I find motivation.
That's right.
So those are like, I can see a future in what they're doing. Like, even if they can't see it, like I see like their goals.
That's right.
And that motivates me.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Well, it's, you know, going back to what I was saying before, like, I started to notice in marketing, like, you know, it's like, oh, I did a few posts and man, I didn't get nothing out of it. You know, like there's a reason that the biggest corporations, the biggest brands in the world are constantly on your screen. They never stop promoting. They never stop marketing and advertising.
Right.
And that's because if you're not, you get forgotten. Like it doesn't really matter how great it is. It becomes a thing of the past if it's not a thing of the future. So, my son, we eat pretty clean at home and all that kind of stuff. But from time to time, like we may see a commercial of something that we don't normally eat, like a pizza or something, and we're not eating it tonight. But the next time that we do, we'll remember that commercial that we saw, and that's when we'll get it, right? So that's another thing too is that a lot of people make when they're new in business is like, dude, there's a bake time that it takes for somebody for you to earn their trust, get their attention first of all, and then you got to earn their trust, and that's only done through repetition, right? Over and over and over again, and like how you look, man, it matters so much.
It does.
I have I'm 42 years old. I've had Botox from time to time, things like that, to keep me looking a certain way, because I believe that creates opportunity.
It does.
Appearance
is huge, man.
Man, it's credibility and everything, right? Yeah. If anything, it just shows that I'm a big believer in. I take what I do very seriously, but I don't take myself real seriously. Well, who I am is a successful person, right? So like I have to live that, I have to promote that and be that, right?
Right. And it exudes from you, right? And you
That's right.
That without you having to speak. People could see you're successful.
A restaurateur once told me, never trust he's a bigger man. He said, never trust a skinny chef. And I was like, dude,
I respect that.
That's really, really good, right?
I respect that.
I want to know more. So you were you mentioned before you were on the first time buyer on Hulu. Dude, that's a big deal. How does one even everybody would love to be on a network like that.
Yeah. You want to know what's crazy is that people, like most of the platforms I've been on, they found me from Instagram or Facebook, right? Just because they're like, we see you so much on here.
That's right.
It just makes sense to have a conversation with you.
Yep.
Which is a testament to why I'd say that consistency is key.
I can't, I did last night. I usually like to, when I start preparing for the next day and I was doing some research on some stuff, I have a lot of great realtor friends, broker friends, and everybody's trying to up their game on digital content. Everybody's trying to do more and more and more. Yours has been really, really good for a long time. Would you say, is that probably like one of the biggest reasons that you've been able to sustain? I mean, dude, you've been doing this in real estate for 7 years. That's not long.
No, it's not at all. I've posted, and I monitor this. I've posted every day since 2016 in some facet, either Instagram, Facebook, somewhere, a story, a post. And before I go to sleep every night, I take like 30 minutes and I make me like content just every night, which I probably need to do a marketing company, man, honestly. But every night I'm just up, just making content, and before I fall asleep, like every night, or I'll be hang out with my daughter. She falls asleep in my arms, and I'll just start making content.
Well, there's a lot of proprietary knowledge in that brain of yours over there that's worth something for sure.
Yeah,
worth something for sure. So tell me about how you feel about the massive growth that is Nashville. You mentioned old Nashville before, which I grew up in that too. It was cool, but we were back at the same time. You always had to leave to go get the big city stuff.
Right.
So there's pros and cons to both. I think you can find good in anything if you look hard enough.
Most definitely. I'm excited. I mean, I've had people compare Nashville now. They call it like New York in the 80s. And I think that they're saying like over the next 20 years, it's going to be bananas. And you can tell that from the way the commercial real estate is. That's right. As well. But yeah, I'm excited. I love it. Like I don't want to live anywhere else. I mean, I'll travel, but I'm fine here. I think it's great. So many opportunities.
I've lived a lot of places, especially as a professional athlete, and like this is home, and this is still my favorite place out of all of them. I love San Diego is the most beautiful place on the planet. Yeah, but like it's not here. This is home for me. Yeah, the Northeast was awesome, but it was it's a different world up there, man. Right. Canada, same thing. It's beautiful in the summertime.
I've never been to Canada. I want to go.
It's cool. Where I played ball, we had night games, but it didn't get dark till like 11 o'clock.
Really?
At night.
That's what I need.
Later.
Man. The early nighttime is killing me right now.
That's the only bad thing is like in December it gets dark at like 4:30 p.m.
Yeah, I need the sun, man.
That's absolutely what everybody does.
Right. It really helps me out.
Everybody does.
Right.
And you're obviously, you take care of yourself. You talked about how you look and all those things matter because I love Deion Sanders.
Yeah,
and
hilarious.
Love Deion Sanders.
I love his image.
Oh, dude, Coach Prime. And but like he has a saying that, like, if you look good, you feel good.
Correct.
If you feel good, you play good, and if you play good, they pay good.
Oh, all true.
I love that.
That's all true.
It's one of my favorite things, and he's big on. I'm doing what I'm made for this. I'm built for this. This is what God put me here to do. Mm-hmm. I think if you're unhappy doing what you're doing, you're not doing what God put you here to do. It's what I feel.
Oh, facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a good segue to. I kind of wanted to add this. I actually have a genuine passion with helping people. So I don't know if real estate is my end all, right? I want to get in a position where I can help people. So one of the things that I'm so passionate about that is because I grew up with no financial literacy. I mean, absolutely zero.
Me too.
So I kind of feel like Robin Hood a little bit. Like I go learn and then I take it back. So like that really empowers me, and I love that. So like that's the passion for me is just helping people. Because I was in a position where I needed help. I needed help. And that's goes back to, like, say if I didn't lose my father, he could have helped, right? Like,
right.
Who knows? It's always that if. But I love learning and spreading the knowledge. Like, as soon as I learn something new, and it can benefit people, I'm posting it on Instagram. I'm posting it on Facebook. I feel like I have to give back. But that's my passion, is helping and educating people. And I think through real estate, it's been a blessing for me, but I feel like my goal, I want to bless others as well. So
one of the greatest sales and marketing questions that anybody ever asked me, Bradley said, Nick, you know where money is? He's like, you want more money? I was like, sure, I want more money. He goes, you know where it is? And so I'm like, I sat there for a minute. I'm like, is this a trick question? Like, is he going to embarrass me when I give him an answer? And I sat there for a minute. He just goes, it's in other people's pockets. He was like, so give them some value and they'll give you some money.
Facts.
He's like, give them some help and they'll give you some money. Give them some hope and they'll give you some money. Yeah, that stuck out with me a lot. Speaking of wanting to give back, I know you're in the process of writing your own curriculum.
Yes.
You got an upcoming podcast that you're going to launch yourself.
Correct.
All this is to give back to everybody else some of the knowledge you've had and a way for them to spend more time with you.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So tell me a little bit about that. What your ideas, what you got going on with that.
So this is my podcast and the training course it's called Manifest Real Success. So the premise there is that. Yeah. So the premise there is that it's kind of like a spinoff to my own version of the Mamba mentality, but it's going to start off with, you have to manifest it. And that's what we were speaking about earlier, is saying that for you to manifest it, you have to see it, right? So you have to believe it, you have to see it, and then you can manifest real success. And then real success stems into whatever you want it to be. That's a subjective topic. It doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be money, right? Like my success would be creating a situation where I could just step away and hang with my family and travel. And that's my version of success. And the real success, again, it doesn't have to be monetary. So that's where I'm going to do a course to help real estate agents build organic leads, right? Because, if you go to a real estate company, somebody can give you leads, but they're taking most of your money. You make money when you can generate your own leads.
That's right.
So that's where I want to create. I have everything done. I created a manual. This is step by step. This is how you do it. And, and that starts with hard work, dedication, resilience, and consistency. If you have that, then everything else is just is downhill. You're great.
That's right.
And then the podcast, correct, which I'm going to need your help with, actually.
We got you, baby.
Yeah, and then the podcast is, I would just want to invite like some of the individuals I mentioned earlier that I respect, business-wise, and then they can come on the show and then communicate their successes.
That's right.
So, people in different industries, transportation, CBD, that they can. It's going to be other listeners that want to grow in that career field as well.
That's right.
So I can leverage my friendship with them, and then they can spread their knowledge, right? And of course, I could be a centerpiece of real estate. So that's the goal for the Manifest Real Success podcast and the entire curriculum for the education arm. So that's my goal. That's what I'm doing 2023, as I want to roll all of that out.
And then the book and all the keynotes will follow, right?
Yeah, correct.
Dude, I love. I didn't hear the word manifest, I don't think, ever until I was like maybe just a few years ago, and before that TV show came out. But like for me, what I see is the most successful people are literally just the best at setting goals or targets, right? So a goal is or a dream is a goal with a deadline, I think. And the deadline is the biggest thing. But like a buddy of mine told me one time, he's like, what kind of house you want to live in? I was like, a big one. He was like, that means nothing, bro. There's a big house. Like, if you want a private jet, like, what emblem are you going to have on the seats? That's how you got to set your goals. He's like, the best at anything is the one that can hit the smallest target, right? So that your goals need to be like really refined and small targets. And by having a course like you're talking about is so powerful, because how many people would finish school if it wasn't broken up in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third? You just had to go 13 years.
Right.
Every year, and there was no mile markers to say, man, I finished something. Exactly. You know what I mean? I wouldn't read books probably if there wasn't chapters to help me stop,
Great analogy there. I love that.
So that's going to be fantastic that you're going to do that. And honestly, man, with your network, I would say it's going to be like a nothing but A-list players coming in about some stuff.
Yeah. Oh, the podcast is great. I have some pretty big people lined up.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people ask me this, what's the most powerful tool in your tool belt right now, Nick? And it is the podcast.
Yeah.
One, there's a lot of people like yourself that I want to work with in the future. I want to do business with. I want to collaborate.
Right.
What other reason do I have to call you and say, let's hang out for 2 hours?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's an unbelievable tool. You get to learn a lot about each other. You're forever tied together on an episode. Your audience is now my audience and vice versa.
Correct.
And then you get all the digital content from it, because like this is the best source for all the digital. It's over half of every piece of digital content that we put out daily is from this show.
And I love what y'all are doing too.
Thank you.
Immense respect. And it's motivating as well. So I love the energy, because this energy that I've received today is going to carry with me to go home, right? I'm already brainstorming on, I have the VP of my company, he lives in Philadelphia. His name is Gabriel Pratt. Me and him, I have so much to talk to him about tonight now.
Yep.
Right? Because this is going to speed up our process.
Absolutely.
Tenfold, and I'm excited. So you motivate me as well. So thank you for that.
Likewise. Well, dude, it's this what the craziest thing is when I first started it, when I built this studio, a lot of my colleagues made fun of me over it.
Oh wow.
And like what I knew is all the greatest like sales trainers in the country are putting studios left and right in their offices, because you got to have content. Absolutely. Like if you're not all over social with good, professional, awesome content, putting your best foot forward, you will lose your customers to somebody that does.
Correct.
In the next 2 to 3 years, if not faster.
Correct.
I truly believe that. So we're all in on it. The team's amazing. Jim, Connor, Cole, and everybody. I mean, we got half teams in St. Louis. Some are in Nashville. It's a great time, and it all came because it was all for me, right, Connor? It was all for me in the beginning, and then people started coming in like, man, this is cool. Can I use it?
Yeah.
And that turned into, now I got footage. Now what can I do with it? I said, well, dang, we got a team. I guess we got something to talk about.
Right.
That's fantastic. I got a note on here. You've mentioned organic leads a couple times.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is if you're a detective, a lead is like a clue,
right?
And
right.
you explore that lead until you decide that's either that's the solution to the problem, or that's not it. We got to find another lead.
Yeah,
right. So in the world of sales, really any business, you got to have if you don't have people walking in the door, you got to have leads.
Correct.
So that you can market to those people, right? So is it would you say your followers are leads?
Yeah, they should be. All of them should be, right? They should look at me and find value enough to want to use me as a real estate company.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%. Like our only job, right, is to generate leads as real estate agents. Like that's what we should do. I mean, it's a ton of steps to get to the point I even want to be, right? But our number one job is to generate leads. Yeah, that's really the only job for us. Is how do you get there? It's a ton of steps, but that's the job.
That's right, and that's where. I mean, a lot, even in the world of insurance, I mean, it's probably more now, but like half the country that is an health insurance policy buyer, like when was the last time you saw a health insurance agent's office on the streets? Like because of when the Affordable Care Act became a thing, most of those people went out of business or turned into brokerages, started selling other lines of coverage, different products and whatnot. So like, if you got questions about health insurance and you don't know Nick, who do you call? You probably go online and become a lead, and some company has your data and they sell it to me or somebody else, and then you're calling them and trying to do that. And then that's, and like, I mean, I get Medicare calls. Do I look 65?
Nah, not at all.
Like, it's killing me. I'm like, I know I didn't sign up to get those calls.
That's what Zillow, I talked about Zillow last night. That's what Zillow is. I mean, you go on Zillow, you like a house, you type in the information, they sell that information to a realtor.
That's it.
Yeah. And Zillow, the people think Zillow is a real estate company. Zillow is a media company. It's not even a real estate company. It's just, but people swear by it. I have clients every day. My Zestimate Zestimate is not a real accurate description of your home value.
That's right.
It's crazy, but Zillow has just the buyers. Well, Zillow's done a great job at generating traffic.
That's correct.
They have like 250 million visitors a month. So I totally respect and see how they can monetize that.
But folks, let it be heard. Zillow's not what the pros are. You guys are not using Zillow to find homes and stuff, right? So you guys have real tools.
We give Zillow the information that trickles down to Zillow, and then they just manipulate it to make people think that they are a real estate company when they're a media company.
They're really, really good at. I mean, like, again, like that's the whole thing is they get attention. They a lot of people are looking at their product all day, every day, man.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, they're going to sell your information to a realtor.
Yep.
Realtor's going to have to buy it.
Yep. And that's how. Back to the organic leads, like kind of full circle, is you have to spend thousands of dollars with Zillow to grab those leads, as opposed to just putting in the work yourself, building your own SOI, your own network, and now you have your own organic leads that you generated from your hard work, and probably you wouldn't have to spend a quarter of the money you would have to give Zillow.
I got to introduce you to my buddy Jeremy Weber, who's one of the founding partners of Brand Builders. Man, that company has done more for me. Everybody says, what do you regret about working with Brand Builders? I'm like, that I didn't do it 2 or 3 years earlier.
Yeah, please intro me.
You do a great job with yours, and that's like at the end of the day, a personal brand, because of the power of the internet and how much time people spend on those platforms. Like, there's two worlds we live in: face to face and what's online.
Correct.
And like, they got to match. Yeah. If anything, what's online needs to be better.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because like I worked out in sweatpants today, but not everybody saw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Correct.
Let's see what else. I had so much to do, and I know you're a busy man and got to get to. He's always closing, folks. He's got to get to a closing today.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me a little bit about the personal life. You got to. So, folks, he's doing all this with the 3-year-old girl. Mm-hmm. You had a significant other. You've been with how long now?
We've been together for what, 4 or 5 years?
5 years,
yeah.
Man. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So what's next? What's next for you guys? Like, what are you guys looking to do? Y'all looking to have any more kids? What are y'all looking to do?
I honestly wouldn't mind more. I don't know if she wants them, but I mean, so we're looking for homes, businesses to invest in, things of that nature. So she's sending me pictures of puppies right now, but we actually put an offer in on a house. I tried to test the market yesterday. I offered like $70K under on a house.
Okay.
It got rejected, but that's good news for us.
That's right.
Take that right now, but. We're trying to buy another house actually right now.
Okay.
We're a couple, but we're business partners as well. So
that's right.
She's she actually found the first two homes, investment property. She found them.
You better hold on to that one. That's
I know. She found them, and it's actually like great. So like the funny thing is our first 3 homes, the address starts with a 7, and 7 is like a number of completion. So like that's crazy how all of that always worked out. But she's incredible. And then I have a daughter named Blaine, which is she's hilarious. She needs to be on a podcast, honestly.
So when you do yours, my son has been he's been in the studio on a show on 4 different episodes. He's been the actual guest twice.
I love it.
And like, dude, that's some of the best stuff. People love that stuff.
Listen, I like being a dad. Like how much did that change you?
I think that a child is outside of Jesus Christ is the greatest gift that God gives us, because it changed everything about all of a sudden. I'll tell a quick little story. I don't know if I've ever told this before. So I think it was my son's. It was either his 5th or 6th birthday, and I'm redheaded, so temper is something that I've always had to work on. Mm-hmm. And something happened. I'm going through my transition where all the stress of I'm not making any money. We're broke. I'm not taking care of my family. I don't like myself. And I want them to like me when I don't even like myself. So that wasn't working out. So I'm mad all the time. My son got we gave him a helmet for him to ride on his bike when he was like 5-6 years old. And like, for whatever reason, he made a comment that like it wasn't the one he wanted or something like that. And I freaking lost it. Mm-hmm. And like, he still remembers this blow up. I remember this blow up. I wish I could take it back. Right. But I remember God gave me a gift that day because somehow it was like I had an outer body experience. I saw what I looked like. I don't know how to explain it other than like I saw how big of a fool that I looked like. And from that day forward, I was like, man, like that's not going to work. Yeah. And it forced me to want to change. Yeah. So kids changed. I have he's 13 now. Okay. But I have a 1.5-year-old. Oh, nice. Good. Right. So she's all, they're two different people, two different personalities. She's awesome. I think they're the greatest gifts ever. We're doing this. We're 42 years old. We got a 1.5-year-old. It's different. Yeah. It's different. And like, I do got to get another hour of sleep that I did 13 years ago. Right. Well, congrats, man. Thank you. But they do change you, right? What about you?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, best thing ever. I can't describe, how amazing it is.
That's right.
And I try, but yeah, she's great. I mean, she's just like, she's incredible.
You're your best friend.
Yeah, and she's hilarious too.
I want to be around mine all the time. Yeah. I get mad if I don't get to spend enough time with them at home.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like, work-life balance is hard. So
it's earned.
Yeah. Oh.
Right. Everybody wants. Yeah. Like, dude, you got to go out and earn that.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
And that's that's like my real success is having that time, being able to maneuver freely with my family. But yeah, I try my best to cut my days off at 5:00 so I can be there when she gets home.
Dude, I've coached every game my son's ever played in. Yeah. Like that's a thing. He's my workout partner since he was 10 years old. Nice. Like we do it before he goes to school. Like that's my dude, man. We built everything in the house so we could do it together. Yeah. Our neighbors think we're crazy because we'll be throwing baseball out in the road, getting his throwing program in at like 7 a.m. before he's got to go to school or something like that.
I love it. That's how my father and I were.
It's the best way, man. It truly is. And I was reading the other day that once your kids turn like 14 or 15 years old, every year for the rest of their life, you will see them less and less and less from that moment on. Man. So think about that.
I know.
Think about that.
And that's scary.
It is, and like kids, family makes the holidays better. Yeah, facts. Everything, man. Well, you've done a fantastic job. Honestly, I'm blown away that you're 38 years old. I just thought you were just way younger. I didn't know. Like some people just get blessed with that, don't they?
Man, 38, man. I mean, I'm starting to feel it a little bit, man. I'm starting to feel it.
Something happens at 40. Just don't I let myself go after pro ball, and I was probably 40 pounds heavier back then.
Really?
Yeah, and like you got to take care of yourself. And I truly, like, every Christmas, I love cookies, and the Christmas cookies come around, and it's bad. It's usually about an 8 to 10 pound habit for about a month. Yeah. But like I noticed wrinkles in my skin I don't normally have from eating lots of sugar, back hurting. Yeah. Like everything hurt based on what I ate.
Correct.
Like, man, like what you put in your body is unbelievably important.
Diet is important.
Absolutely.
And especially for your mental health.
That's it. That's the biggest piece.
Goodness sakes, man. So I'm trying to drink now. I've been doing it for about 2 weeks. It's like a gallon of water a day because I was having like low energy, and I was like, let me try to just eat better. And it's like night and day.
Absolutely. Like, fruit and water, man. The easiest ways to boost energy and everything else.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, is there anything else that I forgot to go through? Like, this has been killer, man.
No, I've had fun, man. I really didn't even remember I was on a podcast. Felt like we were just talking.
That's it.
But nah, man. I appreciate y'all.
Well, brother, you are an inspiration to all of us here and many, many, many others in growing. Once again, folks, the amazing, the great William Wilson, the founder and CEO of William Wilson Homes. I say on our and literally in the intro of this podcast, there's people that we bring on that everybody knows, and there's people that we bring on that not everybody knows yet. That's the key. This is one of the folks that most of you guys know because he's been on such big platforms. He's been on television. That's the big screen these days, isn't it? Yeah. Right? He's been on the big screen, absolutely killing it. any questions about personal growth, buying a home, real estate, anything and above, I highly recommend you reach out to him and his team to see what's going on.
Thank you.
Subscribe to everything he's got going on. If you want to email him, contact at williamwilsonhomes.com. Him and his team answer direct messages on social too.
Yep.
Right. So check him out there. Once again, William Basquiat, WILLIAM BASQUIAT. That's his personal Instagram, and his company is at William Wilson Homes on Instagram. And check him out on TikTok. What was that one again?
Yeah, William Wilson Homes on TikTok.
There you go. There you go. Well, dude, anything else you want to leave everybody with before we sign off?
No, not probably. Lastly, I would just say that every blessing has come from God, right? Like I just don't want to gloss over that. That I'm a very blessed individual because of that.
That's right. That's right. Well, brother, congratulations on all your success once again, man.
Thank you so much. And likewise,
we'll be keeping up with you. I want to do something with you soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
I want to do something with you.
Hopefully, I'll be in here working with you all on some podcast work.
Well, proprietary information is very valuable around here, especially when it comes to marketing.
Yeah.
So we'll have to talk about that.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. Well, folks, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of The Hit Streak. I am your man, Nick Hyder. God bless.